never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another reason to breathe this air.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a Tuesday and I wanted to give all of the working class people an extra day to watch WrestleMania Sunday, which used to be called WrestleMania Night 2. So hopefully I'm not going to come on here and talk about it and spoil anything for anybody, but I know most of the working people go to bed at a decent hour. I know plenty of people that work that say their bedtime is 10 o'clock every night. Their bedtime is 9:30 every night. I know some people whose bedtime is 8:30. Now, I could never go to bed that early, but I know folks that do. And WrestleMania Saturday went till about 11:10 Eastern Time. And WrestleMania Sunday went to just about the same time. So I didn't want to come on here yesterday and talk about it, knowing that there's probably a lot of people who had not seen the whole entire show. But I figure since everybody watches WrestleMania, and now it's Tuesday, everybody has seen it. Any thoughts on it? As always, please feel free to let me know. And after I talk about everything that happened on WrestleMania Sunday, I'll tell you how I did in my overall predictions last Thursday when I predicted all 7 matches for Saturday and all 6 matches for Sunday. We kicked off the night with Drew McIntyre defeating Seth freaking Rollins to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And then, after the match, after CM Punk reveals he's no longer injured, he attacks Drew McIntyre. Then Damian Priest comes out and cashes in Money in the Bank. So Damian Priest walks out of WrestleMania Sunday as the new World Heavyweight Champion. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits defeat the Final Testament in a street fight, which was nothing but a funny match. You had Bubba Ray Dudley as the special guest referee. He even had the old Bubba glasses in his back pocket, and he pulled them out when Karrion Kross pushed him. And then they ended up bringing out the tables. So it was just a fun match altogether. Nothing really to it. Then we had LA Knight defeating AJ Styles. Logan Paul defeats Randy Orton and Kevin Owens to retain the United States Championship. Bayley defeats Io Sky to retain the Women's Championship. And in the main event, finally, Cody Rhodes finishes what they've been calling his story by defeating Roman Reigns to become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Now, a few things. I want to know when and why they changed the name of the Women's World Championships. Bayley is now the women's champion, and of course Rhea Ripley is still the women's world champion. But it used to be you had a Raw women's champion and a SmackDown women's champion. I'm not sure why they really changed that. But in the main event match, we saw John Cena. We saw, of course, The Rock. We saw The Undertaker chokeslam The Rock. After the match, we saw Cody's entire family. And we saw Bruce Pritchard and Triple H. Now, I've heard numerous stories over the years that Cody is really the most humble, genuine person you'll ever meet. And I'm honestly glad to know that. But I've just never considered Cody Rhodes as championship material. To me, he's kind of the guy that what they used to call in the wrestling business the underdog. He is suited better having the entire world, as far as fans go, behind him, having his back, but he's got the deck stacked against him, and he continues chasing the title, and something always comes up, he never gets it. That's the role that seems to best fit him, in my opinion. He just seems like the perfect guy for the underdog role because the fans love him so much. But overall, on WrestleMania Saturday, the only match I got wrong was the match that everybody got wrong. I did not have Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental title, but nobody had that. So I got that match wrong. That was it. I predicted Awesome Truth to win the tag team belts, and they did. But if you watched my video on Thursday, I said in my video on Thursday that Michael Cole made a comment on Raw that made it sound like they might split up the tag team belts, but he didn't come out and say it for sure. So I wasn't sure. I didn't want to pick two different tag teams winning when I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. Well, it was the case because A-Town Down Under won the other tag team belts. So I guess you could say I got that half right because I did pick Awesome Truth. But I got every other match that night correct. And on WrestleMania Sunday, the only match I got wrong, I believe, was Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I think I picked the Final Testament. I'm really not 100% positive. I could be wrong. And I even said that I thought Damian Priest would cash in Money in the Bank. But I thought he was going to cash it in on Cody and not Drew McIntyre. So I was right about Damian Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank, but I got the wrestler he would cash in against wrong. I'm not really 100% positive why they let Drew beat Seth just for 5 minutes and then have Drew drop the title to Damian Priest. I'm not really sure why you couldn't just have Seth beat Drew McIntyre and then Damian Priest come out and cash in on Seth. So I'm not really sure why you give Drew the belt for that 5 minutes. I know they want to reignite the feud between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk because the original plan for WrestleMania was Drew McIntyre and CM Punk before CM Punk got hurt. But I don't see why you couldn't have Seth beat Drew and then after the match, since Seth's on commentary, since CM Punk's on commentary, why you can't have Drew and CM Punk get into it and still reignite their feud. So I'm not really 100% positive on why you do that. Supposedly Drew McIntyre's contract runs out in a couple of months. There are rumors that he is staying. There are rumors that he's leaving. I personally think he is already re-signed. I do not know that. That's just my personal prediction. But if he has not re-signed, I don't think that giving him the belt for 5 minutes is going to make him re-sign. But outside of that, I have no problem with Damian Priest cashing in. I just thought that it made more sense from a wrestling booking perspective to have Cody with the entire bloodline behind Roman, and Cody's facing them all by himself, that he finally conquers the bloodline and wins the belt, only to have Damian Priest come out and cash in Money in the Bank. To me, that made more sense because then you would have the fans even more behind Cody, that he finally conquers the bloodline and gets the belt, only to turn around and lose it minutes later. But I'm a Damian Priest fan, so as long as Damian Priest has the world title, I don't care which one he has. But I personally thought this year's WrestleMania was good, and what I liked about it was none of the matches seemed rushed. WrestleMania always has so many matches, and they do it because you want to give everybody you have on the roster a chance to appear. That way, everybody gets their WrestleMania moment, no matter what it is. So, most years, WrestleMania both nights has 15, 16 matches, and then you have 2 or 3 matches that just feel rushed. This year, you didn't have that. None of the matches felt rushed. I believe they all got enough time. The main events were good. And unlike in the past, this year's WrestleMania, we didn't see part-timers like Brock Lesnar and Goldberg and the old legends that always show up just for WrestleMania to take away time from the actual full-time guys that are there all the time. And Triple H is now fully in charge, and I think we can all clearly see by now that Triple H knows what he's doing. He's doing so much stuff that reminds you of old school wrestling, and I think that's good to not forget about the past and not forget about the guys and the matches that have made wrestling what it is today. Triple H is only 54, but he is a wrestling historian, so he knows all about wrestling from years and years ago, and he's doing so much stuff that reminds you of old school wrestling, and I think that's great, and I think that's why after Cody Rhodes won the belt Sunday night, you had Michael Cole say, I love professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is fun. This is a new era. They're letting you know that wrestling has changed. You know, Vince is out of the picture now. It's fully ran by Triple H, and I think we can all see by now that the man knows what he is doing. We shouldn't doubt any decision he makes. Of course, he's going to make mistakes. He's human. But I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think it's clear by now that Triple H knows what he is doing. You might see WWE slowly but surely go back toward the Attitude Era. Of course, they're not going to call it that because you had that back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But with Raw moving to Netflix in a few months, I think you're going to start seeing some more of the edgier stuff. If you noticed over WrestleMania weekend, they used a lot of words they don't normally use on TV. So I think you're going to hear more foul language, which is good or bad depending on how you feel about it and if you have kids, grandkids or not. But I think you're going to start seeing blood, and I think you're going to start seeing edgier storylines that they did back in the Attitude Era days. I don't think you're going to see bra and panty matches, things like that, because unlike Vince McMahon, Triple H treats women with respect and dignity. So you're not going to be seeing bra and panty matches and pillow fight matches and lingerie matches and all that. But as far as the attitude stuff with the blood and the language and the storylines, I do think you're going to see more of that. I'm not saying they're going to go back to being TV-14, but they might at least go to PG-13, because I think over time we're going to start seeing more and more of the Attitude Era, since Raw is moving to Netflix coming up in a few months. Any thoughts on WrestleMania Saturday or Sunday, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. You can't run through a campground. You can only ran in a campground because it's past tense. That's for all the English majors out there. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.